All right. We start the day full of anticipation, getting energized and fired up to do some exploratory detecting at a new woods location. We may find nothing at all, but hopefully stumble across something that's interesting. So the first objective is to find a site, hopefully a camp or cabin site from long ago. So let's hit the trail and get into it. Well, I've been wandering around for about a half hour, nothing much to show for the effort. Now, I don't know the story behind this dead tree, but it sure is interesting. I really enjoy checking out gulches and gullies. You never know what might turn up. There might be items in as well as above the ditch. I'm on a little knoll above the gully and I'm hearing lots of little iron on the detector, probably nails. There's a crop piece on top of the ground, and over here where I lay my detector down, I dug up a piece of an old wood stove. So, objective number one met, and I'm fired up. We found a site with metal remnants. Now to determine if it was a cabin, camp, or dump area, and make an estimate of a date range for all the goodies, well, hopefully goodies, we dig up. Well, at this point, in terms of dating the site, I found only wire round nails, which started to be used in the 1890s. I did find an ox shoe, which gave me hope that there could have been earlier activity. This silver-plated shaker top sure seems to fit the post-1890s estimate based on the nails that I dug up. Well, we'll see. I sure like finding things with a date. This patent plate was affixed to something and has a date of February 9th, 1886. There's no patent number, so it's tough to identify, but one thing that was patented that day was an electric arc lamp by Nikola Tesla. I found 7 old 10 gauge shotgun shells around the site. 10 gauge is actually larger than 12 gauge, and the gun would have been heavy, as much as 12 pounds. Anyway, I cleaned the shells so I could glean some information. With a little research, we can see when the shells were manufactured. Sure looking at a site that was active in the early 1900s. Many times I'll dig something up and not really know what I have until I get back home and clean it up. That was the case with this little trinket. It's an aluminum sample tin for Dr. Miles' anti-pain pills. Dr. Miles became very successful over time, and his company developed products we still know today, such as Alka-Seltzer, one-a-day vitamins, and Bactine. Miles Laboratories ended up being bought out by Bayer Corporation in 1978. Sample medicine tins were very popular giveaways in the late 1800s and early 1900s. These are remnants of medicine sample tins I found at this location. You can make out the word arnica on one of them. I believe that what I dug is a very unusual and historically valuable find. It's very readable and still has the top and bottom parts attached. I found part of a second Dr. Miles tin that is more representative of a detecting find. Unfortunately, it's trashed. The thing is, most all sample medicine tins were actually made of tin, very thin steel. It was cheap, and in 1907, aluminum actually cost about 15 times more than the price of steel. So it certainly makes sense that it would be rare to find one made of aluminum. Now you may wonder why I chose the date of 1907 for this aluminum tin cost comparison. Well, take a look towards the bottom of this ad for 1907 Dr. Miles calendar. You could get a free aluminum souvenir box just by providing your mailing address. I believe our find is this souvenir box. That includes 6 pills, and this is the best evidence that we have yet, not only of our occupants' love of free samples, but that this area was at least inhabited around 1906 to 1907. Oh, one more quick thing about these anti-pain pills. Like a lot of so-called patent medicines sold in the late 1800s and early 1900s, they did more harm than good. The secret ingredient was actually invented in Germany and was called antifebrin. The underlying compound was a chemical used as an accelerator in rubber and varnish. It was also used to develop photographs. Finally, it was discovered that regular customers were turning blue from blood disorders, and the toxic side effects caused cancer. Well, we have ourselves quite a mystery. Remember when I first discovered this site and found a part of a cast iron stove? I actually found many more pieces of the stove all over the site, as if it exploded. There have been instances when cast iron stoves have exploded in the past. Streams of heat and cold cause expanding and contracting of the metal. The stove can develop cracks and, under the right circumstances, blow up, especially older stoves. There were four key pieces found that should provide clues as to what the stove looked like. You have this decorative small door. I also found a decorative large door, part of a name which I'm assuming is Occidental, and finally a date. I thought it would be a piece of cake to research this and find a picture or illustration of what this stove originally looked like. According to ChatGPT, artificial intelligence, the earliest reference to Occidental stoves is from a 1925 Steiger and Kerr catalog. Here's a cover picture of a 1937 catalog. Well, so much for artificial intelligence. Here are a couple of salesmen's calling cards from 1909 and 1910 indicating that Steiger and Kerr was selling Occidental stoves at that time. Working backwards in time, I did find a newspaper article from the San Francisco Call referencing a murder at the Occidental Foundry in June of 1890. Apparently, in the 14th week of a strike between the Iron Molders Union and the foundries, James Kerr of Steiger and Kerr killed one of the union men after being threatened while walking to work with a non-union man. It's the first reference I saw mentioning an Occidental foundry. Just for kicks, I asked ChatGPT for the earliest reference to the Occidental foundry. I was given the date of 1880. However, according to a listing I found in the Grass Valley Daily Union, there was an Occidental foundry in January of 1873 at the same address. The company name at the time was Steiger and Rowland, and they promoted their service as iron castings of all descriptions at short notice. So that's the extent of my research on these stove parts. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything helping with a visual of what this stove exactly looked like. It's a mystery to me. Here's some of the stuff found that day. In Oregon, we have a deposit law of 10 cents per beverage container. I hate to see trash on the forest floor, so I pick these up to recycle, and we'll get paid 30 cents in the process. And that does it for this video. Please like and comment if you enjoyed it and would like to see more in the future. Thanks for watching.